Hello and welcome to our daily bread. Well, I'm outside where I am because of our plans for this week for our Tuesday night outdoor fellowship here on the parking lot and the lawn around the west side of our building. Now, I need to mention to you that we've had to change our plan for this week. Instead of Tuesday, if you've looked at the weather forecast, it's planning to be very cool and rainy Tuesday. So we're going to move this week to Thursday. So please keep that in mind. But I can't wait for us to have the opportunity to at least be together outdoors, out here in the parking lot and the lawn around. It should be a wonderful time together. Hope you can be with us. One of the things about this bad experience that it has been good is that it has caused us to think about our worship more. It can't help but do that because we've not been assembling together as we're accustomed to doing. We've been worshiping from home. Hopefully, you've been able to tune in and watch the worship services as they have been presented online and participate on those, but we know that's just not the same. It has raised a question, not a new question, but one that's been asked frequently over time, and that is, how can we make our worship more meaningful? How can we make it more impactful in our lives? We see that as a need. And I think there are answers to that. As a matter of fact, I recently heard someone talking about this and had some things to say that I thought were very good. Oftentimes what we're looking for is our emotional response to what takes place during a time of worship. And so many times people will talk about external stimulus. We'll talk about things, the songs that are being sung, the way they're being led, the message that's delivered, not just the content, but how it's delivered. And a lot of things go into trying to tweak our worship so it will be stimulating to us emotionally. Well, I want us to go to a passage from Psalm 95. This happens to be one that is considered by some to be the classic text on worship from the Old Testament, and some for the entire Bible. Some would think that. Let's begin in verse 1. O come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come into His presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise to Him with songs of praise. For the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods. In His hands are the depths of the earth. The heights of the mountain are His also. The sea is His, for He made it, and His hands formed the dry land. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. I think we see an important key here to worship, any worship, whether it's personal worship or whether it is the worship of the assembled church or a small group or whatever it is. And that is that we come to worship not expecting to receive an emotional stimulus, but rather we come to worship already emotionally stimulated. And what is it that does that to us and for us? It is our understanding of God. Do we know God? Do we recognize who and what God is? And this psalm very much speaks to that very thing, that God is our Maker. He is great God. He is the one in whose hands He holds the depths of the earth, the heights of the mountain. The sea is His, for He has made it. When you take the time to think about the magnificence of God, then that should draw well up within us that sense of desire to offer Him praise and adoration. We are emotionally stimulated. We are intellectually stimulated. We are brought to this realization that we bow down before Him and we offer to Him the very depths of our heart in seeking to praise Him and adore Him. And you know what's going to happen is that we are going to find our worship meaningful, not because we have manipulated the externals so as to cause us to feel something, but that we come already stimulated in our thinking and in our emotions, our feelings, and we have come together for the purpose of joining together and offering up our worship to God. And I think that kind of thing is going to help us to find our worship to be most meaningful. Not because that has become the objective, not to make it meaningful, but rather the objective has been to know God better and to know Him as we should know Him, and then to be moved to offer to Him our worship. Let us bow down before the Lord our God, our Maker.